Looking a bit. Yeah, well, that's better. Look at you. You always check your hair out when we start. Hello, team. How are we all out there in Facebook Live?
Afternoon.
Land? What's going on?
Happy
Ross?
Friday.
Oh, happy Friday.
Friday. Oh, I know. What a week.
I know.
Oh my God,
What'd you
we've
do?
been
Talk me through it. Did you get some
Oh,
work?
work is so busy.
I know.
It's great. Great. It's so great.
Oh, shit.
Yeah.
I think.
Did you just
I think,
headbutt?
yeah,
Did I
it's
headbutt
all right.
your glasses?
Oh, shit. I
That's
think we, Mellifont.
You didn't.
Oh, I think so.
Oh, don't
think
jinx
so.
it. Don't jinx it.
Jinx it.
We were talking
Back
about
in Daniel.
Mellifont Street today.
It rocks.
We were
Butchie's
talking about
on.
whether it...
Butchie.
Donna Ellis. Hey, Crystal.
Hey, Butchie, just a quick one, and this is for you too, Ross. I've signed you and Butchie up for CEO Sleep Out.
Oh.
Gims is running the CEO
So to
Sleep
organise
Out.
the
Vinny's.
toilet and the... I can brush my teeth. They're the two
Yeah.
things I said.
Shit, yeah, you can do that. You
Hello,
just need to
Crystal.
look. Crystal Root, hello, beautiful people.
Crystal's
Isn't that
been busy
beautiful?
too.
She's a beautiful girl.
She is a beautiful
She's very
girl.
special and changing the world. Eve Malone, hello,
So,
girl.
Butchie, you're on board for the
Yeah,
sleep
Butchie,
out.
he doesn't know yet. This is the first
He
he's
does
ever-
now.
Yeah, good on you, mate. So we'd love you to come along, Wayne Osberg. Blast from the past, Wayne and I used to play cricket
Hey,
together
Eve.
back when we were young.
Hey, Wayne.
So, topic today, big topic. Oh, by the way,
It is a
Shit.
big. Yeah,
we're going to record this because
yeah.
this is going to be a our first podcast.
Oh, there you go.
Did you know that?
So hi
It
everyone
is
on the
the-
podcast.
Hi, everyone, if you're out there in podcast land.
So the first thing with podcasts is you have to remember to press the start button.
That's a trick. And I don't think it'll be any good quality because I don't have mics, but that doesn't. Roz and I were talking prolific, not perfect. I don't
Yes,
care what
he's
it
going
sounds
global.
like.
He's
We're going
global. Yep.
Oh, my content, man.
You're smashing
It's
it out.
People are starting to be
You are
interested.
smashing
You
it
know,
out.
I went live with my website mid-December.
Yeah.
300 to 400 people have tried to find me already.
Oh, that's
Just
good.
on my website.
Well, you know, 2 weeks ago we did the live on, and we had the section where I was talking about the market and getting your house ready, and you know that things are starting to move, and we've had a lot of buyer interest, and I got so much response from that, and just goes to show anyone that's thinking of doing live videos, yeah, we are flash techies.
We are.
We're getting real flash. You
And-
just wait.
And talking about live videos, I do it on my TGG page now every day.
Oh, no way.
Like last year I did it on my personal page,
Yeah.
but now it's all corporate me and branded, and I'm okay with that. It's
And you know the
corporate.
best thing is you can is sharing it. So we do
Yeah.
it here, and then I always
And
share
you
it to
share
my
it, that's
business
right.
page.
And
I
I'm
share
gonna
it to
share this
our
to my
live page.
And I was even thinking, this is the one bit of content that I don't share anywhere.
Mm.
No, I mean, I don't rebrand or repurpose.
See,
everything.
I do because this is
No,
just
I know you do. Now, what I
Yeah,
mean by
personal.
rebrand and repurpose is like YouTube or cut it up.
yeah.
You know,
Well,
like we
no.
only use it on
But,
Facebook.
you know, it was
Everything else
always
goes
designed.
everywhere
My
else.
mum actually, I was just talking to mum in the car on
How
the
is
way,
mum?
and she's coming over this weekend. We have a massive family weekend.
Love the chairs.
I know you do. I know you love the chairs.
I've been good lately. I haven't been complaining.
No, you haven't. I don't think you've sworn for a little while,
No.
except before we went live.
Oh, you just scared me. That's all. That chair scared me. Anyway, what were you saying?
Oh,
Mum,
we've got a
what's
big,
on
yeah,
there?
so my great niece's naming
Great
ceremony.
niece.
Yeah.
You're great.
I am a great auntie
Holy
several
shit.
times over, and
your
this
20s.
year I've got more. I know, right? How did that happen? So yeah, I've got the whole family coming over for the weekend because we've got like great niece's naming
Talk me
ceremony.
through it.
Yeah, there it is again. That should be your catchphrase.
Oh, it is.
And yeah, then my nephew and his fiance's engagement party, and then my other niece's baby shower. So we're trying to squeeze it all in while all the family's here.
How are
So,
you doing that?
well, naming ceremony, engagement party Saturday night, baby shower Sunday. And then everyone goes home. So welcome to all my family that have rocked up in town. I know
Are they staying with you?
they're starting. Nobody's
no
staying
room.
with me.
We can't
nobody
tell
can
anyone
fit.
either.
No.
Because you live in a shed somewhere
No.
out the back with the boonies so no one can find you. Hey, been a while. Good to see
it
you
has.
too,
Right,
baby.
Rich has
Yeah, I
been-
think we're catching up. I hate the chat. Oh, that's a harsh word. I don't. Oof, hate. Oh, harsh word.
So on to our topic for today, because I'm really glad you came up with this. Because it's very
hold
thought-provoking.
on. Just before we do that,
Very thought-provoking.
I've put a hashtag there. So someone, who was it last week? And you'll know, Corey Bruton, he's my nephew. Good lad. Zoe Johnson's on
Hey,
too.
Corey. Hey, Zoe.
He's a great young man. Someone gave me a hard time last week. Rightly so. Thank you. And I
Okay.
take all your feedback on.
Yeah.
That we don't give. So we talk about all the personal development stuff that we do, and we don't put
Yeah.
links to it. So what was that podcast you're talking about? What
Oh, that was
called?
my friend, Lorraine. Yeah,
Lorraine, was it?
Lorraine, yes.
So
I do sometimes, if like when we talked about 71 Wharf, I posted the thing,
Oh, you
but I
did too,
understood
yeah.
what she said, and it's
Oh, so did
probably
I.
good. Yeah,
No, it's
so
fair
we need
call.
to, yeah.
so
So we need to like put links to books that we talk about and podcasts and things like that. So
So
we
if
will
I
do that.
if I ever mention the book School of Greatness today because that's been my book this week. I did it on
You should be able to actually take that.
not Physique to Greatness.
No. If you
School
do at School of Greatness, will probably come up.
No.
Yeah, that's what Matt Burnett taught me that. If you do at School of Greatness, it may come up. Okay, wait.
School of Greatness Worldwide. Holy
There you go.
crapola.
Thanks, Matt Burnett.
Jesus
So
Christ.
Matt puts in his apologies again this afternoon. I messaged him, and he is taking another rain check. He's in
Starting to
Brisbane,
think
but
he's
he's
all
working. He's working very hard right now.
He is. Well, what's going
Very
on
hard.
right now?
Oh, he's just doing lots of stuff for
life.
our council and
Oh,
our
isn't he?
community.
Good on him. Oh, he always does.
Yeah, he does.
He's a champion. He's
Yes.
so good.
Speaking
I'm
of
going to hit him up.
influential people in your life,
Talking about CEOs, sleep out, I'm asking him to
Chris.
Tammy, you mad unit, the bald man, baldest man in Gladstone, or second, or you and I combined. So who had the biggest influence on your life?
well, I actually was
Outside mum and dad.
really thinking about this after
Were
you
ya?
messaged me. I
Really
was, and you
thinking
know
to
what?
the
There's
first.
there's a lot of people. I think that you don't realise how much they influenced you until
Ooh.
way beyond when they are influencing you. So, you know, people like my grandmother. I was very fortunate as an adult to get an opportunity to live with my grandmother when I was nursing in Brisbane. And how many people as an adult can actually get to say, "Hey, Nat"? How many people have the opportunity as an adult to live with a grandparent? So my grandma was very influential, and I think she's been a big influence on every single person in our very, very big family. And well, she was, she was married very young. She grew up on a dairy farm and very hardworking. And her mother as well, my great grandmother, she married very young, and then she actually got divorced quite young as well.
Your grandma did it?
Yeah. My grandma, back in the day when it was, a bit taboo to talk about divorce and that. But I had lots of great conversations with her, and one of the conversations when I was living with her that has always stuck with me was when I asked her why she never remarried, because she got divorced very, very young. And she said to me, it's not that I didn't have the opportunity. She had a lot of suitors, and, she talked about how much she loved her life, being able to make the decisions.
She stayed single
Stayed single
for the rest of her life.
The rest of her life. She was...
How old was she when she died?
late 80s, I think she was.
So when did she divorce? In 20s, 30s?
Well, my mum, she divorced around the time Mum got married. Mum was only 19 when she got married. So, yeah, she was only in her 30s, probably. Yeah. And I just thought it was really interesting. And she loved being on her own. She loved having the ability to spend time with all of her family. She travelled overseas a lot.
What was the biggest life lesson she taught you?
Probably the biggest thing I ever learned from her was, and it wasn't until later in life that I realised this lesson, but the biggest thing I learned from her was to not do things in your life that you are guilted into. Like she always accepted you for, whatever your decision was. She wasn't judgmental. Okay. She supported you no matter what you, and she did that with absolutely unconditionally. And because I was I've talked about this before, I've always been a real people pleaser, and I made decisions in my life based on, I'll do that because it'll make someone else happy.
Whereas Grandma pulled you up on that.
Well, Grandma always, and it was, obviously with doing those things throughout my life, and then, I had a divorce, from my first husband, and that really affected me as far as, it'll upset everyone else. Yeah, but with my other partner, we didn't get married, so had 2 long-term relationships. But yeah, so I'm still good friends with my ex-husband, my children's dad. He's a great guy, and but she was always, she always taught me not to do things to please other people, and she never judged. Didn't matter what, she was 100% supportive, whatever, and she gave advice, and she talked about her experiences, and you learned from those. So had a massive impact and influence on my life, and still does today.
Tammy's playing golf with his boy.
To her.
He's had a broken relationship, so he's single dad at times. Sport.
Oh, your nan and pop got you into the...
got you into golf at his age. He's only a lad.
Wow.
11 or 12.
Oh, wow.
Good on you, Tammy. And you're still playing. I reckon it's a sign.
I need to have a game of golf. Do you know I love golf? And
me too.
I used to be really good at it, and I have not had a game. Last game of golf I had was in Las Vegas about 4 years ago.
Nice.
I played the Las Vegas golf course.
Is that all? I just went to Las Vegas.
Well,
just for golf.
We were there,
then I flew home.
I was there for a convention, and Remax have a big golf day for charity. So Children's Miracle Network, and I played the Las Vegas golf course. Played
Hole in one?
fantastic.
Did you?
No holes in one, but it was
Good on you.
such a good experience, as everything is in Las
Yeah,
Vegas.
absolutely. And hello, Melissa O'Donnell.
I reckon it's the happiest place on earth.
Really?
It's like Disneyland
There
for
you
adults.
go.
It
Oh,
is Disneyland for. You can do anything
It's
over there.
colourful.
It's just. It is,
and it's
but
bright.
influential. It is.
I like it. No, I like it.
So-
I'm a Las Vegas fan too. So grandma, eh?
And my one
Can
of
I tell
the
you a
one of
story
the
quickly?
yeah, go.
My grandma was the same.
Was she?
Different
I think
reasons.
grandmas are like that. Well, back in the day, they were.
So grandma, born in 1919, married young. Granddad died in 1979. I'll never forget the night. We were at home. I got the call.
Yeah.
And she never remarried, and she's still alive now. So that's 40 years.
Wow.
Oh, it's 30 years. Well, 79, so now it's 40 years. 40 years.
And
Never,
she got a very fulfilled life.
oh, she did have. She's a bit shabby now.
Yeah, but you know, to be on your own and have a fulfilled life,
She did,
it just
of course.
shows you.
She played golf into her 80s.
Oh wow,
Golf at Tanham.
that's the one good thing
Golf
about
into her 80s, Tammy. You'll be doing
Wow.
that, you know, fixing coffee machine while watching you guys go, Melissa O'Donnell.
Yeah, you got to fix that coffee machine.
Shit, yes.
You need
You
your coffee.
I just had one. I'm flat whites now. I'm cutting back on all long blacks again from next week.
You are looking so much better.
I am not.
Oh
I'm
my
looking
god!
fat. Every
Damn,
time
that
you tell me
keto.
that, every
No.
time you tell me that, I feel like I'm a
Oh,
fat.
seriously?
Stop
I don't
it.
know about that keto
Oh,
thing.
stop it.
You
I'm
look
never
like
going to keto again.
skeletal.
So I'm going to be back there. I'm going to be 10 kilos lighter than that. So.
So how did your grandma influence you? Was
Oh, we lived
similar?
with her for a while because
Yeah.
Mum came from a broken marriage.
Yeah.
Mum came from domestic violence.
Oh no!
I don't know if
Wow.
I'm supposed to say that actually. Shit. No, she didn't. Did she? Who's listening? So yeah, Mum had a really tough marriage, and we things happened, and so she ended up back with her mum, which is my grandma, and me and Joey were there. And, yeah, I remember Grandma in the good times. So
Yeah.
it's sort of hard because when they deteriorate, you know, you sort of got to watch them sort of go off the face of the planet in a strange old way. And,
Yeah.
you know, you sort of got to think back to those good times when they were really lucid and they were quite active with you and were golf, and she was teaching
It
me
is
golf swing and stuff. And,
Seeing them deteriorate like that.
yeah, she
My
was.
grandma was actually very active. She had a blood disorder though, which lowered her immune system. And she, not long before she died, she got bitten by a spider, which we believe was a white-tailed spider. And her body, yeah, she was a big gardener, so she was out potting plants in her greenhouse, and she got bitten by a spider, and the infection went through her body, and we think that's what killed. Yeah, because the blood disorder, she didn't have the ability to fight infection. So, oh, look at this bubby.
Oh, no, it's cute, isn't it?
Yeah.
Ish. It's good when you can give them back when it's not yours. How's our coffee stock going? Good, I think, Melissa. I'll check in with Jules. Thank you for asking. She sells, that's CQ coffees, CQ coffee. Yes, they're great.
Ah.
The best beans in Australia.
You can do ordering on here direct with Melissa.
Oh, you can too. Order your beans on in now too. Donna Ellis, funny moment. The notification came up, you guys were live, then it jumped out of mine and into your live.
We booted you. Did we boot you? Sorry
No,
about
she
that.
was live and I was talking to her, and then
Oh,
Harry Charles Ambers, Peter Palmer, great cyclist. Harry
hello,
Chandler.
Harry. And
Harry, we just sold our investment property as our first team.
oh, have you actually sold
Shit,
it?
yes. Ish, I think.
Just be careful,
I
Anton.
don't know. Oh, you know me. I'm not a glass half empty sort of bloke.
Yeah, I
don't
know.
care. It doesn't
I
happen.
know.
It doesn't happen. But I'm gonna get excited. Anyway.
So you know who else was really influential
Who?
in my life? My high school geography teacher, Mr. Brown.
Wow.
Absolutely.
Mr. Brown.
You know, you
Is that in
have
Bloods?
no, out at Claremont. My high school geography teacher, Mr. Brown, Stephen Brown. He's a professor now, so he was.
Smart lad.
Oh, just a really good guy, and I think as far as because obviously I had a lot of issues with
Nudging Mark West.
had a lot of issues, you know, being a bigger girl at school and got teased a bit. I had a lot of friends, but having somebody to that's nice.
Brian, we'll see. He's the guy that we grew up just up the road
Oh,
from.
okay.
Yeah. And usually sits over here somewhere. Good on you. Thanks, Brian. Appreciate the feedback.
Yeah, so
mate.
Mr. Brown was really influential. He actually was one of those teachers, you know, the teachers that you always remember, and they really make you believe in yourself, and they actually really acknowledge when they see how much hard work you put into an assignment. And like, it was just, I don't know, there was just a certain thing about him that he, with everyone in our class, I think he had a real, and a lot of the kids from my class that I still talk to now, we still talk about him. And he's a professor. I'm hoping to catch up with him one day. My friend connected with him down in Brisbane, and that's how I found out he's a professor now.
Nice.
So my friend Jackie, she's run into him, and she said, "Oh, we should catch up for a coffee when you're in Brisbane." And I thought, how weird would that be? Catching up with your high school geography teacher. So,
Crazy.
yes. Did you have
Good
any
on you.
teachers that you remember that
Yeah.
influenced you?
Jenny Hayward. Hello. I think Jenny's somewhere.
Jenny?
She's sometimes in New Zealand.
I hope she's somewhere.
I can. Yeah. Well,
I think Jenny's somewhere.
tell you what, you're on with this. You're a smart girl. Grade 4, Mrs. Myskoff down at Star at Sea, and she just disappeared one day.
Really?
Like at the end of grade 4, and I don't know where she went. I didn't even know she was leaving.
Wow.
I was shattered. She was my favourite teacher. In 12 years, she was my favourite teacher. I had one or two others, Miss Compton from Chanel, who went and married a Christian brother, as you do. So Brother Kieran. She was fantastic.
Teachers are a big influence. And you know what? We've talked with Jules, your beautiful wife,
Tony
about
Robbins,
this.
Les Brown, Zig Ziglar, Jim. We're going to get to...
Yeah, motivational
we're going to get to people, that's right.
Yeah.
People who are where I want to be. They have the skills I want to learn. And Craig Buchanan, thanks for joining us. I'll make Kyria King, my cousin's wife.
Kyria, hey, and Craig.
Yeah.
Who were the biggest influences in your lives, guys?
Yes.
Love to
so
hear.
there's Donna. So I love... Well, let's jump to that, actually. So who do you follow?
Love Tom Panos. Tom Panos.
I saw him come up on LinkedIn.
Yeah, he's fantastic.
He's the lad, isn't he?
Well, from a real estate perspective, but he's also got some great life lessons. He's actually survived cancer several times, and some of the things, like he talks from just a real down-to-earth perspective as far as no BS. He's just direct. A no BS.
I think he's a bit of a
he does a Sunday. He does a little bit, but he does on his Facebook. He does his Sunday night rant.
Sunday rant, right?
And sometimes they're not always about real estate. So he talks a lot about surviving cancer and impact people have had on his lives. He's just a fantastic guy.
So give us the top 3. Tom Panos. I'd have to be some more. What?
Anton Guinea.
Oh, I turn it up. No, famous people.
Well, you're famous.
Oh, I know.
You're a motivational person. No, seriously. I mean, as far as when you're talking about people who actually influence you, I have to say, because Mum was just saying on the phone when I was driving in earlier, and she said, well, how long have you done these lives? I said, it's probably about 8 months now. And she went, really? And I said, well, just about every week, except for when Jet Setter here is over in Japan or somewhere. But I just think when I think about what we've talked about in that time, and how much time we've actually spent together.
Oh, absolutely.
And obviously off camera as well, we talk about so many great things as far as
Dave Carmody, Nudgy Book.
Yeah, so I think, when you're talking about people, motivational people, and I hear a lot of really great positive stuff, thank you. But, people call me up in the street, and, you're Ros, you do the lives with Anton. Oh, he's such a great guy, so pumped. I love how positive he is. So you obviously influence a lot of people with your positivity and the fact that we get there's a flight. So many people watching our lives. I think that you are very influential in a lot of people's lives in a very positive way. So
can I just share one story with you?
Yeah, absolutely.
So I was away at LinkedIn.
Well, think of the other people.
No, that's right. I'll give you some
jump in.
Time
Yes,
anytime.
jump in.
So, and I appreciate that, and back at you for sure. Like you're quite inspirational, and you're like, when I think about leading women, and I think, because there's a lot of women that I always think I need to connect you with, and I'm slow, as you know.
Oh, you're busy.
But I'm going to make a commitment. I was even speaking to a lady the other day. I said, I've got to put you in touch with Ros. So I just sort of see you as a bit of a beacon and a bit of a sort of a lead. And that's what people say to me about you, that you're sort of like a leading. And I don't just mean it because you're female. It's just that.
No, thank you.
I think.
And what I do appreciate that. And I guess with the really big major things that have happened in my life, I had to make a decision. There's so many people, and we actually had one of my gastric sleeve forums. We actually had this conversation the other day about a lady went on and she was really upset because someone told her she'd cheated and took the easy way out. And I just said, you have to take. I've said this before. People are just uneducated. They aren't saying that from a point of any understanding or concept of what we've been through.
That's right.
Like if you're an obese person and you have literally tried everything, I defy anyone to look at me and my life now and how different it is, and for 40 years see the struggle that I had with my weight. And I just think, it's just in the public eye, when I'm a very well-known person and know a lot of people, I had to make the decision: do I keep this secret and quiet like a lot of people
Tell
do,
everyone, girl.
or do? And
I'm so glad you do.
Purely 4 years now post-op, and hey, how are you, Nancy? Good, thank you. So 4 years post-op.
Before you do that, Crystal Roots, your tribe, the main people you influence. Thank you.
Yes, definitely.
And both of you are very connected
Crystal.
and inspiring.
Thank you,
Crystal. And you guys.
Thanks, Donna. Yeah. You guys are too, honestly.
No,
It's so nice to have such a great network
Absolutely.
of people
Back
who
at
are
you,
inspiring.
And you guys are too. I love watching Donna's lives and Crystal. She's beautiful, girl.
Well, I only just this week, I had a phone call from someone, friend of mine. She had run into a lady who said, your Ros Waters was one of my family members, so your Ros Waters niece or whoever. And she asked her, my niece, would I mind if she rang about the gastric sleeve surgery? She said, I know that your auntie's been very public about it. You know, I really want advice from someone who's been through the journey. And so my niece rang me to say, would you mind if I give this lady your number? And honestly, the pure and simple fact that I have had so many people touch base with me and ask for my advice, and I love that I have got the ability purely because I'm open and honest about everything that's happened in my life. Well, you know, and you don't do it because you're blowing your trumpet. You don't do it.
You do it for other people. It's a gift.
Well,
you've got a gift that you can give. That's add value.
To have the ability to help someone not have to struggle like I kept struggling. It's a really good feeling.
Amazing. And if you remember that video that you and I did, what did it get? A couple of thousand views?
It's up to about 3.5 now, I think. Yeah.
Shit. Now, if that's not a bit of impact, what is?
Absolutely. Even if you only help one person, it's worth sharing your story. Absolutely, Donna. Absolutely.
And I'm happy to share it with thousands as well.
Jason Hartwell.
All the way from Emerald.
How are you,
Big safety training business out there.
Wow. You'd be busy.
Changing the world.
Are things picking up in Emerald, Jason? I'll be interested to know how it's going out.
He's always busy, man. He's great. Does social media well. We actually did some Facebook training for him.
Oh, good. Awesome. So who else?
For me or you?
Who are your big, big public, very famous, influential people that you watch videos of and they influence you?
Are you ready?
Yes.
Have you heard of a bloke called Gary V?
Yes.
Gary Vaynerchuk.
You spoke to him. You spoke about him.
A lot.
Yes.
So I want to be the Gary V. So if there was someone in the public eye who I aspire to emulate, like I get the Tony Robbins and I get the Jim Rohns and I get all that, and there's like those people teach you that I sort of call them trainers, right? So Tony Robbins will tell you, and he'll coach you, right? You read his book and you go, okay, so I have a vision, right? Cool. And I set my goals, yep, cool, great, I'll go and do this shit, right? So they're about information, is what I'm going to say. What I love about Gary V is, he's not information. He's just, excuse the language, he's just fucking go do it.
So he actually influences you rather than just teaches you something.
Correct.
And that's a really good point.
Because I don't even have to watch him. All I do is open his website. If I showed you, so Gary Vaynerchuk team, Gary Vaynerchuk.
We'll put a link to him. Actually, if you do I'll guarantee you do at
Gary V.
Oh, no, the two. No, you've got to do the space.
Oh, hold on. Gary V.
There
he is.
Yeah.
Gary Vaynerchuk.
There you go.
So if anyone wants to follow,
don't
do that.
Don't click that.
He's the kick in the butt. He is the kick in the arse. But what I love about Gary V is that really open, honest, prolific content creator, which I get. He says you can never have enough content. So he's out there and he says what I love about his podcast is 90% of his podcasts get up here because you're not doing enough content, right? And if you have a look at his website, if I showed you his site, just his podcast, there'd be at least 10 channels you can listen to.
Wow.
From Stitcher to Google Drive.
He gets around by the sounds of that. Like he's been very well known.
He does a video every day.
Oh, yeah.
And Webster. So I want to. So if you ask me who I follow, it's Gary Vaynerchuk from a doing perspective. And my goal, as I've shared with you before, is to be like world famous for leadership. And the guy, if you said, who do I follow from a leadership perspective, it'd be a bloke called Simon Sinek. So Simon starts with.
So he actually influences you?
Oh, I love it.
He says influences you.
I'll never forget his book, Start With Why. And I always, with your marketing, you've got to start with why.
Yeah.
What is it about your product or service that other people want? Don't worry about
what's your why.
That's right. So, and what's their why?
Yeah.
Right? So what I want to be is, if you ask me why these guys influence me, I want to be the Gary Vaynerchuk method with the Simon Sinek content. Does that make sense? Like I want to funky up leadership speaking. Like all the leadership trainers in the world, like all these old grey-haired dudes. Simon Sinek's a bit out there, but even he's a bit dry. He's not so much fun.
Yeah.
Like, I want to funky this whole industry up a bit, you know.
And I think that the biggest thing is there's people like that who can influence you, and they're not industry specific. So they're not actually just a real estate trainer or a finance trainer.
They're out everywhere.
They actually, And you know what? If you actually go onto, onto YouTube, it's not hard to find those motivational videos. You know, where people actually can inspire. And Jim Ron, people like that, the stuff that they share, like the videos that they've done.
And get onto Anton Guinea
on YouTube. You can't watch them and not. Yeah, absolutely. You can't get on and listen to those and not actually be touched, and it actually has an effect on you, I think.
Do you know my favourite search on YouTube? Greatest momotivational videos.
Yes, and they're the ones I watch in the morning. You know, I told you my friend Mark Chaney, and he still does that every single Saturday. He's got a huge, and you should do something like this. Every single, he's got this huge contact list on his phone, and on Saturday he's got an app that it automatically sends a different motivational video every Saturday to everyone on that contact list, and he does it all through this app that he's got. And you'd be able to do that with your videos, actually send them out to people.
Now, I've got in the third one, so I go through stages. Like last year it was Grant Cardone.
Yeah.
This year it's a guy called, I took this away. This year,
recording, is it?
Yeah, still recording. This year, it's a guy called Lewis Howes. So I just listened to his book, The School of Greatness. Check him out, Lewis Howes. He is the man of the moment. I'm a massive fan. Raped as a boy, this massive story. Lewis.
I'm putting it up in the
Lewis Howes.
Comment.
Just such an amazing individual. School of Greatness is his book and his podcast.
I was going to say that there's a book. I've read.
That's it.
Book of that. Yeah, that's him.
It's such an amazing lad. Footballer, overcome some difficulties in life. All-American athlete. Blah 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 blah, and interviews great people. That's where he gets his School of Greatness from. So anyway, they're the three people that would probably influence me most when it comes to taking action.
And it's interesting what you said before about whether people are teaching you something or they actually do have an actual influence on you, because I think there's a difference between watching something and getting something out of it, or actually having, changing yourself or taking those same things on board
and doing something.
That's what influence is where they actually you mimic them or mimic their behaviour or
In the way that I think about it, here he is. That's Brian Small. He's the bloke that made the comment before.
Oh, really? Oh my God, that's freaky.
No, he sits over there.
That's it. Oh, he wasn't there last week, I don't think.
What I was going to tell you was that, I always say, and the way that you differentiate between the two is, can you learn from them without actually hearing their voice? That's how I separate. So Tony Robbins, I'd have to watch him on a video, whereas if I just went to Gary Vee's website, I don't even have to hear him. I just have to see all of his podcasts. He was all over LinkedIn 20 times a day, which you're not supposed to do anyway. I did a LinkedIn training course as well. You don't even have to hear him. You just know what he says. Oh, that's interesting. I might try that. So I think that's the way that I pull those two apart. So can you watch someone, or have you got to listen to it?
And that's, I guess, it's great if you want to source the professional, like the motivational speakers and people like that. But who else in your actual life has had an influence on you?
Yeah, so I think my earliest influence...
Apart from your mum and dad.
Yeah, that's right.
Everyone knows my mum and dad have influenced me more than anyone.
Huge.
Yeah.
I think one of my junior cricket coaches is a bloke called Jack Johnson. So Jacko, old guy, would you believe, fought melanoma and won. Used to wear, do you remember the Forex visors?
Yes.
He used to coach with the visor on.
Wow. So
he didn't even realise he was getting burnt.
Wow.
And all of a sudden he had melanoma. But
they're not as popular now, probably for that reason.
So when we were kids, that was the rage. So now, Jacko, see, I was a rat bag as a kid, and he was one of the first people to actually, besides mum and dad, to actually sit me down and say, mate, really, are you really living up to your full potential?
Yeah.
Because I was with cricket, he said, you got some skills, and there's other kids who love your talent, but you're not using it because you're being a shit. And at training you play up, and you're a smart ass, by the way, too.
Pulled you into line a bit.
You don't do what I tell you.
Yeah.
He came around to our house.
Wow.
I'll never forget. Dragged me out of the lounge room. sat me down out the front. I shit you not, like, oh, here we go. This is interesting for someone.
That's Crystal.
And Karen Windress. So
Karen.
He really, like, he gave me just one of those kicks in the arse that I'll never forget. And I was a changed kid after that. Like, I don't know whether if I asked him, did that change? That bad kid, absolutely. And I probably thank him. And like, we were to the point where he actually did the speech at mine and Julie's wedding.
Wow.
So, great family friend. He became great.
It's interesting, isn't it, when you talk about, probably not really fully appreciating the influence those sorts of people had on you until you're an adult, when you have grown up a bit.
And when you got kids yourself.
But to think, we've talked about teachers and we've talked about sports coaches, those are the types of people. And for anyone that is a teacher or a sports coach or in a position like that, the influence that you can have on a young human being, it just goes to show there's just particular people that are standouts.
Ooh, and you know what Jill says? It's not what you teach them, it's how you make them feel. Like
and she has said that. Yeah, she said that.
Saying.
And you know what? I probably can't even remember half the stuff that Mr. Brown taught me.
No.
But I remember how he actually made me feel and how he actually, he just, I looked forward to his classes.
Absolutely.
Because, he actually made every single individual person in that class feel like
good.
They, that their hard work was appreciated. He recognised, the struggles you went through, and it's amazing to think that you could be a teacher or sports coach or someone like that who can have such a great impact on another human being as a child to completely influence their life. Yeah. And see, that's what Jules talks about all the time. All the time.
And then,
had your coach not had that influence on you, and if you were a rat bag, where could you have ended up? Exactly.
Right. And he
could have kept going down that path.
And he took that lead role on to be the influencer in my life as a coach for the next 10 years.
Yeah.
So I think that was the start of the journey. And so I had to pull into line because I knew he was going to be around for a while. So. And
how much does someone have to actually care to
do that?
It's not just a job for them.
No.
He would have actually known that he was pulling you out of a path that probably would have gone in a different direction.
That's right. Because I had a chip on my shoulder because of what happened to Mum and like the breakup and all. I didn't even know what a chip on my shoulder was until my auntie shared that.
But he got it off your shoulder, didn't he?
He helped. He helped, yeah. It was like a big rock there, and he gave that a name. Peter Marsh. He was a good teacher out at Chanel too. He was hard, Peter Marsh. He used to hit us on the knuckles with a bloody ruler. That's Brian sitting over there.
Hi, Brian.
He used to, back when you couldn't do that sort of stuff, so he'd whack you on the knuckles or throw dusters at us. I think I remember.
Oh yeah,
he was a rat.
I remember
teacher.
Yeah, well,
jeez,
God, you wouldn't be able to do any of that stuff.
No. And luckily
because you shouldn't.
Oh shit, yeah, you take an eye out.
Shouldn't be doing that stuff.
That's right.
Yes.
Then I had this great boss when I first sort of went into serious roles, into leadership roles. People can influence us for a reason, a season, or a lifetime.
They can.
And can I tell you something?
And people come into your life for a reason, a season, or a lifetime.
And I've got to tell you, we won't get to it today. Ros and I are always positive. There are people in my life, though, that have taught me what not to do.
And they've been a negative influence.
Absolutely. No, well, yeah. Is it a negative influence if you learn from them what not to do, or is that a positive?
Well, I'm sure you would have had people, we all would have had people that were at that particular stage as a negative influence. Yeah. And this is where we talked about toxic people. But if they've influenced you, even indirectly, you've seen them go through a certain thing or deal with something a certain way, and that's influenced you, and you just go, no, I'm not doing that.
Not for me. I think I think I had a negative experience with a positive learning.
Mm-hmm. Which means they've influenced you, really.
Oh, absolutely.
Absolutely. And interestingly enough, what Crystal just said...
He's the lad. Well, he'll give us a thumbs up in about 30 seconds.
Yes, he will. Hi, Jenny. What we were just saying, what Crystal was just saying there, it's not that someone influences you for the rest of your life.
No.
You might actually have one situation, and the one that comes to mind most for me is back when I met John Wall, and we've talked about John Wall before. So John Wall was at a conference I went to in Sydney with Remax, and he got up and spoke that day.
That's right.
And I've said before, I felt like he was talking directly to me. That's when I made the decision to start looking for, some way of getting this weight off that I was carrying. And he really made it so pointed that, you just can't sit there and complain continuously about the same thing over and over if you're not prepared to get off your backside and find a way. And I had struggled with the same things constantly, trying to lose weight, and I would yo-yo diet and I'd lose weight and put it back on, and I So that's when I started looking, into more of a, obviously a surgical option, and to think of whatever he said that day. It was that one moment, and I've only seen John about 2 times since then at other conferences. Oh, yeah, he's just amazed at.
What you've done, I said, because he would see you now.
Well, yeah, and I actually, when I messaged him, I think it was, my 2nd or 3rd anniversary, and I sent him the before and after photos, and I said to him, I said, never ever underestimate what an influence you can have on just one person when you're getting up there in front of people speaking, because whatever he said to me that day, and I can't remember it verbatim, but I can tell you right now, I knew that something shifted in my head that day.
Can I tell you?
It just shifted.
Do you remember I say to you, and I said to you one day when we were doing these lives, when we'd been at that conference over there, people that public speak, most of them, 99% of them, realise how important that work is. Some people don't. That's why they get up there and don't value that role. And I get that because, I can feel that.
Yeah.
And you've got to, if you're in front of people, you have to take that responsibility on.
I actually agree with that. Just from the people I've actually seen. And you know what? I think that small percentage of people are the ones that are doing it to get something back for themselves, that money or just recognition or bragging rights or whatever it might be. Because I have been to...
It's not a purpose,
exactly. And the people who we've mentioned here today, you're Tony Robb, I'm sure he's rich, but I truly believe that he's doing it.
Oh, it's a calling.
I truly believe he's doing it because he wants to have that positive impact. And most people, like you said, most people who get into that, I believe that they actually do it
for the right reasons,
for the right intent. And the good comes to them out of that.
Oh, of course.
So the financial gain or the popularity or the the public recognition or whatever it is, it's just it's an offshoot. They are genuinely doing it to try and, which goes back to me sharing my story. You don't do it because you want recognition or
you do it to help other people.
Yeah, and I mean, I got to the stage where I just, it was so overwhelming how many people were saying you're so inspiring, and you have to actually. Well, in your head, you're just like that. There's the old fat me who I just can't take, compliments and things. But you have to actually go, hey, I actually am so grateful that I've had an influence on you. I'm grateful that you actually think I'm inspiring or I inspired you.
And that's the thing about it. And that's right. Yeah. Because the challenge is, Ros, that we don't feel worthy. Like there's this whole worthiness thing, and we all suffer from it. I'm not actually worthy to give that advice, or I'm not worthy to be in a room full of CEOs, or you're not worthy to coach people on weight loss and get the kudos for that. Yeah. Bullshit. If anyone with the right intent is absolutely worthy, because it's coming from the right place. It is, and it's hard. Getting to that point where you can receive compliments that is hard when you have people saying you did a great job. Absolutely. Mind you, I don't mind the cash too. Well, the cash, like I said, it's an offshoot of that. And if you do the right job, that'll come. Can I tell you? The more value you add, the more you get paid. It's as simple as that. With anything. That's right. So if you... Like with your job as a real estate agent, you change lives, right? Yeah. So you're not in real estate, you're in the people business. Yeah. So you create dream homes, right? We create dream businesses, for example, and dream teams. And if I'm not doing that well, I'm not going to get paid. I'm going to go broke pretty quick, right? So, and we're building relationships because I had a lady contact me today. I sold a house to them years ago, and they're looking at reselling. Now we send newsletters and stuff like that, anniversary cards, all those sorts of things, to people. But to actually, I haven't sat face to face with these people since I sold them the house years ago. But they still remember how you made them feel, And when you sell a house to somebody, quite often they'll come back to you to sell it because of that experience they had with you. And it's the same in any industry. My daughter had a pretty bad experience at Priceline yesterday. She had quite an upset customer, and she got really upset by the way it ended. It was but in retail even. All those girls down there, when you go down and get served down there, or in a lot of retail places, it's really tough. Especially, a chemist, you think about the stress, sickness, people are sick, the illness, there's people on methadone withdrawal programs, there's, and, people come in there and they take it out on the person who's standing in front of them. And it doesn't matter how great you are at customer service or how pleasant you are. If you actually come across someone who
is shitty or in a bad mood. And see, we get that a lot because we have tenants with tenants who are upset about something, and
managers.
That's a tough property managers are so undervalued a lot of the time that the stuff they've got to deal with in a day. I swear to you.
Absolutely.
Oh,
and
Crystal,
right.
I love that.
Conversation, and that's right. That's why we teach this shit team.
Yeah.
Because not a lot of people can do it.
I love that.
We're about to launch a new program too.
Are you?
Lead with influence. 5 elements of that: rapport building, body language, public speaking.
You're giving all your stuff away already?
Shit, yeah, absolutely. Give it away. Come and grab it.
Generosity of spirit.
Oh, shit, yes. And we'll do. I'm going to actually do a launch on here one day.
You should.
Yeah, we should. But anyway.
So who else? Anyone else that's influenced you?
One of my first bosses, so Richard Shockman, was a big influence at the time.
Was that because you were a young guy and he was like a bit of a mentor to
figure.
you?
Yeah, he took me under his wing.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I probably shouldn't have got the Kylie Raylene Barnsley. Who's that, Crystal Roots? I probably shouldn't have got the job, but he just he said, and he was the first guy. Get this, and this is what I was going to share with you before. He's the first dude, which I never really. You know what he said?
What?
You've got this energy. WTF? What are you talking about, bro?
How old were you then?
25.
Okay.
It's the first time I heard those words.
Yeah.
You've got this. This is what he said. You've got this energy.
How did you take that, and did you not know what to do with that?
I didn't care at the time. Okay, cool, thanks, Jan. Good on you. But it was just something that stuck in my mind because over the years it's come up. Like it comes up. Get this. So I go to this LinkedIn training. We finished the course. Guess what our mate says?
You've got this energy, haven't you?
All the time. I hear it all the time.
And you know what? It's interesting that you were always like that because you have got a lot of energy.
Well, thank you.
It's one of the things that's a standout. As far as when I'm around you, I can't help but feel pumped and you know what I mean?
Well, we've got a 9 meter. We've got a 9 meter energy field.
It's so impactful.
We're onto it, girl. As soon as it's out, it's yours. You can be my crash test dummy.
There you
remember this conversation. You've got it free, and I'll give you the whole
it's
course.
Recorded, so you've got something to remember.
And like literally, this dude yesterday, who's a really biggest influencer, he multi 7-figure earner. At the end of it, he literally made the effort to come up and say, "Man, can we keep in touch?" I said, "Okay."
When he said that to you yesterday, did your mind flash back to when your first boss said
every time? And like the whole 25 years, like every time someone says that, it's anchored.
Yeah.
Right? Because I struggled for so long, even until last year, I've struggled to understand it. And I think I finally do now. I called it pumped for a while, and I called it in flow for a while. Do you know what I reckon it is?
What?
I'm just happy.
And I think you are right.
Is that it? Could it be that simple or not?
Yeah. Yeah, it could.
I reckon it is, eh? Like I just
you think about it. Okay, so break that down. Yeah. And we've talked a lot about you interviewed the homeless people down and we talked about that when you're in Sydney.
Yeah.
You've been to Japan and you've seen they're happy. They're happy people.
There.
And we've talked about mental health and we've had conversations about that. But if you think about the times in your life where you have felt whole and complete and happy. When you look at how your relationships are going, how you are financially, how your business is going, and we talked recently about having a job to get up to every day that you actually are happy to go to work, and
jump out of bed.
Absolutely. And I think that's what it is for you. There's the only time I've seen you probably a bit low was a few weeks ago when you were starving yourself on keto. Your diet influences it as well.
Absolutely.
So, I think from a holistic...
Now that I'm fat again, I've got all that.
You are not fat.
Stop calling me fat.
Stop it, you're not fat.
Contented.
It is, and it is contentment, and contentment's different for different people.
Yeah, it is.
So, there's certain things...
Sorry, I keep kicking
the foot. That's all right, as long as you don't kick the chair.
That's it.
We can have the chairs being noisy again. So I think contentment's different for different people, but I truly believe, and we've talked to, you talk to your kids about this, if you are financially stable in a relationship, well, when you, because obviously Sarah and Jack are getting married, and we talked about it's a real struggle to go out and live it in your own first home on your own. You start to realise all of a sudden you can't need servicing, or you need new tyres, or your rent's due, or your electricity bill turns up.
Exactly, or he doesn't pay for his phone.
When you think about times in your life where you've financially struggled, the stress that adds to you singly or in a relationship, you know, it's tough. And
we've been there. We've been broke.
Health. You think about someone, you know, if someone's not well in your family, or if you're not well, it has this huge, you're not content if you're sick. Do you know what I mean? And that's what I think it is having contentment, being happy. That's what gives you the energy.
Yeah, that's right. I agree.
Yeah,
I agree. And you're the same, you know, like I always say that you can feel people's energy.
Oh, definitely.
You know, there's people that I walk near them and I go, ugh, ugh.
Sometimes that's a prompt for you to say, is everything, like I said that to you the other day, and John Sorotti picked it up on your live when he said, are you okay, mate? You don't seem yourself. And you can pick it up. No, you were starving. You were skeletal. You were, I can see your cheekbones.
I was in good shape.
Good cheekbones. Yeah. No, you're looking much better now.
Fat.
Triathlons are bad for you, I'm telling you.
Right.
They're bad for you. I'm sure of it.
So, you know, so I can feel this energy in people, right? And like when I hear public speakers, and there's this favourite line that public speakers use, I'm an energy worker. Like, you know, and I hear it, like I'd hear that many times a year. I'm an energy worker. Now, like, I get that. What I really believe is that everyone is. Like, every time I hear it, I think we're actually all energy workers.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because we can't help but influence people, because we do. That's just the way we are. We have a night.
And you don't even have to open your mouth. We've talked about smiling as you walk past a stranger.
Mate, change someone's day.
Influence straight away.
So we have this 9 metre energy field, girl. So we're all influencing other people, like you said then. And, you know, for someone to say,
totally agree,
I'm an energy worker, to me is like,
I work at the power station.
That's a good call, great joke.
Yes, that's about.
I think that
we all are, and we all influence each other
absolutely.
If you spend time around people like you that are pumped and happy and, you know, positive and passionate.
Us.
Yeah.
Us.
So people. Yeah.
Like us.
So when you're around someone and you can leave that situation, walk straight into a shop or something, and someone says something really bad, like your energy level can drop immediately.
Absolutely.
Or someone will
it.
run a red light and nearly wipe you out. Like that, you know, that energy is just changed immediately. So knowing that smiling at a stranger can have an impact on them and you, I still believe if you're smiling, it, you know, makes you feel better. I always say to the girls, before you answer the phone, smile. Before you answer the phone, smile.
Because people can hear
a smile in your
voice.
Exactly. And it's the energy. It's all about the energy. So
and Sheila Daly's just joined us, one of the fittest women in Gladstone. I want to say Australia, actually. Fit. Sheila Daly training or something. She had a business anniversary recently, been in business forever, and vibes everywhere from Crystal Roots. Absolutely, we're all vibing, baby. We're all vibing.
It's all energy, vibes, definitely.
So anyway, so Richard was the first guy that said, you've got this energy. I went, okay, cool. I didn't really mean much to me then, but I've been trying to slowly for the last 20 years understand what that really means and looks and feels like, and how you articulate that, because like a week wouldn't go by where someone wouldn't say that.
And you can think back of periods in your life where, like I said, it's influenced by accident or illness, and you have talked about the downtime you had after your accident, and it was such a low point for you. And, you know, we've talked about, you know, anxiety and, and that's had a massive impact on people.
I went downhill for 100 days.
Yeah.
I wasn't happy.
Yeah, and that so many people have been influenced by that. Colin?
Do you know who Colin Scott is?
He's been on before.
Mate, listen, don't listen to she knows. She knows who you are, brother, don't worry. Famous Queensland state of origin.
Oh, I was going to say, that's why I've heard his name before. Hey!
One of the famous dudes.
Welcome, Colin.
So
there you go. I bet he's influenced a lot of people.
Oh, he would have. Now selling memorabilia. So out changing the world a little bit. Yeah, like
I probably bought something off him.
You probably
should see my collection.
Oh, I know, mate.
I got a few bits of
him and I were going to do something one day. We're going to do a charity golf day, but we just haven't got around to it. One day, man.
Your list is getting longer.
All right, team.
Well, the list is getting longer.
The list is getting longer. Yes. Hey.
So what's happening with you this weekend? How was the cricket?
Oh.
What happened with your seats?
Oh, we just chose new ones.
I know Jules was a little bit confused, I think.
Yeah. Well, we always
what are you sitting there for? Oh, do you?
She says, how come I buy used seats? She said, why don't I get you the one right up the back that's cheap as chips? Because you just walk in and just sit down with us.
And then you move anyway. So what's with the dudes in the budgie smugglers?
He was a lad.
They let him in like that?
Yeah. Turns out he was a Gladstone boy.
Oh, get out. Wow, small world.
And get this, so I posted that, and then some dude here, who I'm connected with on Facebook, said, Anton, that's my cousin.
Oh my God,
that's
such a small world.
Isn't that small world?
Those photos were great. I loved your hat, your baggy green.
Oh, yes. Yeah. Love those caps.
Awesome.
So no, good day. Got drunk. The drunkest I've been for probably 20 years.
No, you'd have to get pretty cut to beat Mason Rack. I tell you.
What's that?
Beat Mason Rack. When you went to Mason Rack.
Oh, that wasn't even close.
Oh, really? Oh my God, you did go all out.
I passed out. I had to get carried up to the store.
You passed out. Yeah,
I can't drink like that anymore.
See, not being on keto is so much more fun.
Oh, isn't it? Copious now.
How'd Zachy go? Have to carry it,
Him
did he?
and Spearsy, they are like, he calls it, and I don't like this word, I think it's a bit yucky, piss fit, whatever, like that's yucky words. They're very well conditioned to consuming copious amounts of alcohol.
The definition of the word, I would imagine that yes, that's they are.
Oh yeah, they are way more than me. So,
they are.
So that was good day. What are you doing this weekend? What's going on?
All the family stuff.
That's right.
So I've got the big family stuff.
Is that this weekend?
Yeah.
That was okay.
Last weekend was great though. There was lots of events on for Australia Day around town, and it was really awesome. And a couple of sneaky bits of information I got about some big projects that might be on the horizon this week. So watch this space, and we will get some people on to confirm or deny. I've heard a couple of things this week.
Bullions? Are we talking bullions?
We're talking
bullions.
Really good for Gladstone. Really good for Gladstone if they come
houses.
Yeah, you've already sold it though. Oh, you've got
I'm talking the other sex girl that we've got to get rid of. Jesus creepy, mate. That's only the start.
Just stay calm. But remember, we're not going to go stupid with prices.
We are.
It's just nice to see it steadily
when
increasing.
When we go to Bullions, we're going stupid with prices. Don't you worry about that. Though.
We might actually do a bit of an update next week. We should have the call. Another nudgy boy.
I'm getting excited.
Hey, Jason. Yeah, it's just really, really positive. And interestingly enough, Sydney and Brisbane, areas of Brisbane are starting to pull back a bit. And my friends in the West, my very well-connected people in real estate over in the West, their market and our market follow the same path. Obviously, commodities and resources driven. Yep. Their market is definitely doing the same.
Oh, it's gone nuts. It's gone nuts.
It's picking up. It's even in the smaller towns over there. So that's very positive for us.
Headland? Are they in Port Hedland?
Oh, Port Hedland.
We're similar to Port Hedland too, by the way.
Yeah, Bunbury, lot of little WA places. So yeah. Yes.
Let's hope, let's fingers crossed.
That's one of my dream destinations. I want to go to Perth. Yeah, Perth and Broome.
What are you waiting for? You're putting it out there to the world, so here's the challenge. Well, when are you going to do it?
This year.
Not put the pressure on you?
This year.
You don't want to put the pressure on
you?
No. What
this
month?
Year. Oh, no, I've got lots of stuff on this year.
Well, next
Having
year,
my surgery this year, so I'm going to be out of action for a while. So.
No, when people say it's on the bucket list, I always
no, my big trip this year is New York. New York. I want to take Sarah.
To New York to play golf.
No, Sarah and I, my daughter Sarah and I have always planned for her 21st birthday that her and I would go to New York and watch the ball drop at Times Square on New Year's Eve. And she turns 21. Oh.
Have you seen that?
Yeah, I know. She turns 21 in November, and so before she gets married early next year, that's our plan, is to go to New York. And we've got a few tours we want to do, and I might take her to Las Vegas for a game of golf while we're over there.
As you do.
She probably doesn't want to play golf, but she'll be 21 by then, so there'll be a lot more to do in Vegas than play. That's why we're waiting till she's 21, so there'll be a little bit more for her to do.
That's right.
Yes.
Well, Ross, baby, we better. It's been nearly an hour, and by the way, team, we podcasted the shit out of this.
Yep.
So I'm hoping this all comes through.
We better check the quality of that recorded.
I don't think it'll be
sure
any
it's good.
So what I'm going to do next week is I'm actually going to plug a mic into this.
I've got a little
phone
mic. I have. I bought one, and it actually plugs straight into your phone. Yeah. It's perfect. So we'll test it out. That'll be a good test. I haven't used it yet, so it'll be a good test. Because I want to use it for my lives when I go back and do some more lives for some businesses. So awesome week. Have an awesome week, guys.
Absolutely.
Thank you for
Thanks
joining
us
again.
Yeah.
And if Anton's tagged a few of the things that he's talked about in here, so Lorraine will be happy with that.
She will. So hopefully she gets some value. I'd love to hear from Lorraine.
If anyone's watching this after the live's finished, feel free to let us know who has been an influence in your life.
Because we might even. What's part 2 to this? Is there a part 2? I feel like we haven't quite finished. Thanks for a great chat. Absolutely, Crystal.
Thanks,
what's
Crystal.
part
Thanks
2,
for watching.
Crystal? What's next? Is it how they've influenced you? So to get specific, because like we always talk about motherhood statements. So is there things that we've learned from our mentors?
You know what I reckon would be a good follow-up? Talk me through it.
I've got my next book title.
Talk me through it.
That's a book title. Talk me through it.
And it's your catchphrase, so it suits you. So.
And the other one is...
I still didn't think of mine. You told me I had to come up with my book title.
Yeah.
I have to do that this week.
You got a book in you?
Yeah, we talked about that, but you said, what's the name of your book? And I can't think, so I've got to come up with a book title. So.
Or, this is another book title, just fucking say it.
Yeah, have you read that? Have you read the...
Salah.
Which one? It was the bestseller last year.
The Subtle Art of
The Subtle Art of... Yes,
God,
yes.
absolutely.
Good book.
Up.
That's a great...
Still, it's number 2, I think, now on the bestseller list.
Yeah, and it's been out for a while now, a couple of years.
That's why I thought I'd use a swear word, because it seemed to go to the top of the charts.
Well, there you go.
And what I mean by just fucking say it is that a lot of people hold back and they don't have those tough conversations that we should have.
Exactly.
People are frightened to say what they think, and you've got to be a bit direct at times, respectfully,
yes,
and politically correct.
Well,
we can't violate people's beliefs or their feelings, and I'm okay with that. People think political correctness has gone mad. I don't. I think that, you know, if you stand for something, whether that's gay, like if you're gay, that's cool. And guess what? People are going to have differing opinions.
They are.
And that's just the fact of life.
I still think as long as people don't take it to the point where they're actually...
But remember, I said we're respectful.
Yes, that's right.
So I expect respect.
Yes.
Does that make sense?
Yes.
But
again, it comes back to what we talked about before about people being uneducated. A lot of times people have opinions about things
that they don't know anything
because
about.
they actually have no idea about what they're talking about. So.
Hey, you know, I got bagged on LinkedIn the other day.
You do?
Yeah.
I don't believe that for one second.
I'm telling you. Because you know why? I'm supporting Adani. Every time Adani puts a post up on there.
So someone bagged you for
Adani.
Someone bagged you for
yeah, there's some big Adani. This bloke really tried to get under my skin and I didn't let him. He was like right into me telling me that I was worthless and I was this and I was that.
Again, people have opinions, but you can't personally attack someone. No. It's the same as the debate in Gladstone where there's, you know, a small percentage of people who bag the industry. Well, you know what? You don't have to live here. And the town wouldn't exist without the industry. So, you know, I just think, yeah, yes, and so much has been done to improve, you know, things, and there's a long way to go. But we're an industrial town. Yeah. You know, if you... What do I say all the time? What's my favourite saying? If you don't like where you are,
you're not a tree.
Move. You're not a tree.
You know what it reminds me of? When we lived in Wollongong, I was a superintendent down there in a copper smelter, right? And the copper smelter was built in 1908.
Oh my God, seriously?
It's like a prison. It was a horrible looking joint. Now, get this, the houses were built in the 70s and 80s.
Wow.
Well, they said the industry should move.
So the coppers...
I could never get my head around it. You know what they used to do?
That's hilarious.
Because you imagine this.
Wow.
Now, I shit you not. See that building there, Ros?
Yeah.
This is straight across the road. The smelter was here. There was a road at Fort Kembla. Houses were there. You imagine living next door to QAL. And it would stink.
Yeah.
And we dropped acid rain on it.
They built a house there. And if someone chose to live in that house...
That's right. You know, like if you buy a house where there's industry and then you get acid
fallout
rain,
or whatever. Yeah.
Like, isn't that a choice here, mate?
Well, it's kind of like people who live in places like Bali. I always go, how the hell could you live there with the, you know, the earthquakes and the threat of tsunamis and
bombs?
But, you know, a lot of people don't have a choice. But seriously,
so yeah, if you live next to industry, guess what happens? Yeah. And you know what they used to do? Hit golf balls into the plant.
Oh, really?
True story. I've never seen anything like it. They chip, talking about golf.
Yeah.
They chip them over the fence and try to hit us with golf
balls. Oh, wow.
Balls.
Really?
Yeah, they started this group called Irate. Google this because there'll still be something around.
Wow.
Interested Residents Against Toxic Emissions.
Oh, wow.
True story. Mind you, we did.
I have to say that's pretty clever.
It is pretty clever. Irate, we're Irate.
That's pretty clever.
And they petitioned and eventually the plant got shut down. And that was part of it.
Probably got shut down because it was old.
Stinking. Yeah, because it couldn't.
1908.
We were owned by Japanese. Do you know what? I've got an affiliation with the Japanese. In that role, my first meeting down there was with 6 Japanese engineers and an interpreter.
So have you ever wanted to learn the language?
Shit, yeah, I'd love to. Oregano.
You know what? I'm going to
Oregano.
set you a challenge. You need to learn Japanese
All right,
this year.
The whole
This
thing.
year.
So we can have a conversation. So I
You
can
need
have,
to- you
all
need
right,
to
and
contact
by
us.
December, we'll sit someone here with Japanese and we'll
Yes.
conversate. All right.
Yeah.
If what's your challenge for this year?
My challenge.
Carmen Smith. Okay.
I thought you just gave me my challenge to go to
New
Western
York.
Australia.
I'll go to Western. Yeah, but you said you weren't going.
No, I said I have to be careful when I book it because I've got my surgery in the middle
So
of the
you're
year.
going
So I've got to
Western
go before
Australia this
July.
year? You're going to Western Australia
Yeah.
this year, and I'm going to Japan.
Yes. I'd rather my challenge than
Oh,
yours.
no, this is going to be what I'm on.
Yeah.
All right.
But
Yeah.
isn't there a lady in town, Faye, who
He was
teaches Japanese?
Hello, Mr. Rose. How are you, brother? Yeah, we got. Hello, Michelle. Mr. Rose was a teacher at Chanel and really a great teacher.
He was one of the best. Talking about influential people, and his beautiful wife,
Oh,
Michelle.
absolutely. I thought
She's
that was
just
Michelle,
gorgeous,
too.
Michelle. Michelle was a dredge.
Was she really? What, a Simone or
One of
Sean? Which one?
one of the dredge. Not. Is it Simone?
Simone Drake. Was she Simone's sister?
I think
the
so.
Whelan girls.
Yes,
Was she
Whelan. That's right. Thank you.
Shit, I should have known that.
Yeah.
I went to school with Simone.
I'm sure she's
Yeah.
Simone's sister. Yeah,
Small world, eh?
it is, and she's the most beautiful
she is.
person, Michelle.
And so
She's
was,
got the biggest
so was
heart.
Simone.
Yes.
Her, Jill Smith, Rosalind Dodds. There's some girls that I went to school with, just, the nicest girls.
Yeah, lovely.
And can I tell you something? Do you ever go to school reunions and there's some people that don't age or just
Yes.
age gracefully? These girls, seriously, there's 3 of them that they just look the same now as they did when they were 12.
Yeah, it's funny that, isn't it?
What's
And
that
then you have
all
some
about?
people who
Oh,
life
who-
hasn't been kind to them.
They look about 80.
Yeah.
Right,
Very quickly, just my idea about following up next week. We were talking
what is it?
before.
What is it?
So
What is it?
I think that we should actually talk about with things that influence on your life. Is there anything that you ever really, really wanted in your life and it didn't happen? And you look back later and went, oh my God, I'm so glad that life pointed me in a different direction. There's a really good song by Garth Brooks, and it's called
Sometimes I
Unanswered
thank
Prayers.
God for
And it's the
unanswered
best song.
prayers.
And that's what I think we should talk about. Has something happened? Has there something in your life that you've really, really, really wanted and it didn't come off for
Are you
you?
going to remember that for next week?
Yeah, we'll talk about that next week. I think we should, And it's not a religious conversation. It's
No.
just saying, us talking about, or you can be religious if you'd like. Anyone would
That's
like to
right.
comment on that.
Do you know what it's
But-
about? Have you listened to the words of that song?
Yeah.
Unbelievable.
He
Let's save it for
wanted
next week.
he wanted that woman so much,
So
and then
badly.
he looked at his life now, and he's
And said,
like, "Well,
"Thank
thank
God."
God for unanswered prayers."
You know what we should do? We should actually get the words to that song and dissect
will.
that song.
Yeah, we will.
Because every song's got a story.
And you know what? There's another
Talk me
song I
through
want
it.
you to. I'm going to actually give you a challenge to listen to a Graham Connors song. There's a
Up
Graham
north?
Graham Connors is
I know
from
Graham.
Mackay.
Yeah,
so
no,
I'm a
that's
big
right.
fan of Graham
Me
Connors.
too.
He has got a song, and it's actually called "Sacred Place."
Right.
And it's similar, but it's about actually knowing, and it's back to the people who influence you in your life. And it's actually talking about leaving a sacred place in your children. So it's the words to that. I'm going to send them to you, and we're going to talk about those things.
Those
next
two
week.
songs,
Yes.
Unanswered Prayers and Sacred
And
Place.
Sacred Place, yeah. It's about what you do throughout your life and knowing the influence it had on your children. And the words to that are pretty awesome.
Good on you. Love Graham Connors. Sorry, got a big good up.
Yeah, you too. Gone over
Thanks for
the
a
hour.
great
So
day.
thanks for listening, guys.
We
And
went- we
tune in
went
next
crazy this week.
Friday.
We could
You'll
go
be
for
in
another
town.
hour, right?
We could. But then it
What am I
won't.
doing
They're
next
already
Friday?
sick of us.
Yeah, that's
I'm
okay.
sure. That's okay. We just sit here and natter. If anyone
That's
wants
right.
to watch,
Yeah.
they can
Oh,
watch.
Bitgall came on late. Good on you,
Completely.
girl. You can watch the whole video
Hey,
if you
Bitgall.
go back and listen, or listen on our new podcast. Woo! Sure, I'm going to stop
Have
the
an awesome
podcast
week,
now.
everybody. And
Absolutely.
we will see you next Friday. And have a wonderful week. Congratulations on Elephant Street.
Thank you.
Thanks for watching, guys.
Cert file, no. Okay, I'll just go. Okay. Yeah, good. I know where that is.
You're still